We understand that your team are the pioneers of the first Christian Fashion Week. For all of our fashionistas out there, tell us about this event and the inspiration behind it.
The inspiration behind Christian Fashion Week was to create an event around modest fashion. We know that the market already exists for it. As a matter of fact, most women would prefer to wear something modest on a day-to-day basis. But the fashion world hasn't really created a safe place for those types of fashions to be showcased. And so Christian Fashion Week draws from the values of Christianity, draws from the faith that we all have as founders, and it creates an event that allows designers to showcase modesty. Now we come at it from a perspective of expanded creativity. Some people think that modesty is some type of a crutch or some type of a cap to creativity. But we actually consider it a way to expand creativity. Now that you know the guidelines, now that you know the rules of the game, you can actually win the game, right? So that's how we think about modesty. It's one of those guidelines that you use. But then once you know the guidelines and once you know what that means to you, and for each designer it means something slightly different. But once they know what it means to them, they can be free to just be inspired and create new designs. So we're excited about this year.
Great, great. Now, New York and LA, you know, they're the best known. They're best known for its fashion. This is Tampa, and we're talking about Christian fashion here. Tell us why this event is a must-see and what you hope the audience will experience.
Ida, for years, Tampa has tried to showcase fashion in some way or another. We have several fashion schools here, and we have students that come out of these fashion schools, and so we've had fashion weeks in the local area in St. Pete and in Tampa. I think that one of the things that we're seeing is a city that's trying hard to show the world that fashion does exist here, that not only do we have our own fashion, but we also have a voice in the fashion community. When you mix that with the values of modesty, and then you really bring show excellence. You know, one of the things that we wanted for our event was for it not to be a church event, but for it to be a fashion-first event that carried forth our values. There was no reason to start it off with a preaching or start it off with praise and worship like you normally see in a Christian show. But we wanted to create an event that was on the same level and on the same, using the same guidelines and production value that New York Fashion Week has. So the reason that folks should come out here for our show here in February is because they should expect to see fashion-forward styles. They should expect to see fashions that are showcased that really aren't available anywhere else. There are no other shows showing some of these designers, and also to come and draw from the energy of Tampa and from its creative perspective and from a perspective of a city that's really been grasping, trying to tell the world, we're here and we've got fashion sitting right within the walls of our city.
Okay, with practically 2 Christian Fashion Weeks under your belt, is there any certain part of the production that makes you go, wow?
Yes. You know, when we set up the runway, we have a wonderful production team that sets up the runway and the backdrops and just kind of sets everything up, the chairs just as they should go. And it's that moment when the lights turn on. And the audience commented last year, we went through great lengths to literally tent in the main runway area. The audience mentioned how it just felt like they were walking into a New York tent, a Bryant Park tent, because we literally walled the entire area with black curtain. So we really go over the top to try to make you feel like you're walking to someplace else. It's not just a room with a runway in the middle. It's not a hotel with, you know, with literally no production value around. We really add the lighting, you know, 36, you know, LED pure white lights, a pure white runway, a backdrop that tells you where you are and why you should care to be here, and an audience that's really excited about the content of the show.
Okay, so you're talking about those lights. So at that moment when it's lights, camera, action, what does that feel? What do you feel at that moment?
At that moment, it just feels like the work that we've put in for an entire year is finally realized, and the stage is set. And at that moment, usually when you turn on the lights, the designers have just gotten there and they're just sneaking in the back trying to get all their models fitted in the last minute and do any last minute adjustments. And you just know there's that anticipation of what's about to happen. It's usually about 2 to 3 hours before the show that the lights finally come on. So it's pretty exciting.
Oh, great. Okay, what's new in fashion this year, and will we see these trends on the runway?
You will see some of the trends for this year, which are things like jewel tone colors, mixed textures, European suiting. You'll see a lot of that within our show, as you will for the New York show, as you will with the other shows around the country. We really are, again, trying to create a show that's indicative of what the fashion community is doing as a whole. And you'll see a lot of those trends here at Christian Fashion Week.
Okay, great. Now, we're just about complete. Can you name for me, name 3 words that best describe Christian Fashion Week?
Absolutely. There would be modesty, creativity, and just, it's necessary.
Great. Thank you so much, Jose, for this interview, and we look forward to the 2014 Christian Fashion Week.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you there.